Hey everybody, welcome back to Beginner's Mind, Art Mind. It's Mungyo Day. I know a lot of you have been waiting for it, and it's finally here. This video is so jam-packed full of swatching, using Gamsol and walnut oil to blend the pastels, comparing Sennelier, Paul Rubens, and Mungyo together as far as blending, opacity. I did two complete paintings that I filmed for you. There is so much content in this video, so let's jump right in and get started.
Just where it was needed, gleaming black as night, cloistered in injustice, dead in the eye of time. Nobody is losing, faces merge and change, but your face remains the same.
Okay, so the colors, I'm going to try to pick out the same color when possible. So for the Paul Rubens, the yellow is going to be permanent lemon yellow. For Sennelier, it is also lemon yellow. The red is red light for Sennelier. And for Paul Rubens, the red is China red. And the blue for Sennelier is ultramarine, French ultramarine blue, and French ultramarine blue. Okay, now I'm going to open, I haven't even opened the Mungyo yet, so I'm going to open those and pick out colors for those. As close to the colors of the Paul, oh, and white, I forgot. I was going to do white too, titanium white for both. And here is the Gallery Mungyo Artist Soft Pastels, 48 colors. Wow. Wow, they're not boxed as nice at all. Looks like the protective foam, which is like nothing compared to the other two brands, must have slid back, and the pastels all put their marks on the lid. But this is nothing compared to what you get with the other two brands. You get a color chart probably, like you do with the other brands. And let's see what we can find for colors. So hopefully there is an ultramarine blue. Ultramarine blue. And lemon yellow. Lemon yellow. And a red. The other ones. So I will pick scarlet. I'll lay them out over here. Oh, and white, obviously. And white. My brain is just like not working well with me on this. I'm floundering here. Okay, for size, this is the Mungyo. This is the Paul Rubens. Paul Rubens is slightly bigger. I've used the stick, so it's worn down a little. Looks like they might have been about the same length. Of course, Sennelier, we know, is teeny sticks. Sennelier, red. Sennelier lemon yellow. Whoop. I want to get a good layer down because I'm going to mix up and mix down. So, wow, it just wears down so fast. Wow. Sennelier blue, ultramarine blue. Finally, Sennelier white. The blue paper and the tan paper and gray paper and black paper. I love the way this looks on black paper. Okay, so that's the Sennelier. Now the Paul Rubens. Red. China red. Chunky, chunky. Wow. Okay. Yellow, Paul Rubens. Well, shoot. That's kind of a mess. Wow, what a different blue. That's French ultramarine and that's French ultramarine. Interesting. It's definitely French ultramarine. Yeah, French ultramarine. Looks like it has a lot of white in it. Okay, and now the Mungyo, my first try at these. And let's see. Wow, creamy. Very creamy. Huh. And creamy and crumbly. Lots of crumbs. Actually, well, we'll see how it goes, but right now there's more crumbs in the Mungyo than there is in the Paul Rubens. I don't like this red, I don't think. Maybe it's just between those two, but those two look so saturated. This, there again, this looks like it has white in it. It's dull. Yeah, I don't know. This doesn't look like it's as pigmented, but there again, now that Paul Rubens was really crumbly, so I don't know. And this one's coming out smooth, so we'll see. A little back and forth, I guess. The yellow. Wow, that is crumbly, guys. Holy cow. Can you see that? That is really crumbly. My goodness. Wow. That's crazy. That is just crazy. I don't know if you can see that, but that is the most crumbly out of all of them I've tried so far. Wow. Just crumbling off. Wow. Again, very crumbly. Wow. So crumbly. The red and the yellow so far. Whoa. I'm gonna dump some of these crumbs in the garbage because they're gonna get all over everything. Okay, again, ultramarine blue. 3 different brands, 3 completely different colors of blue. Very crumbly. See, the crumbs are just getting everywhere. Wow, they're making a mess. Yeah, I'm gonna dump some more of these crumbs off. Just making too much of a mess. Okay, let's see what we can get here with the Sennelier on the tan paper. For blending. I'll use the other side for the blue. Gosh, you know, like a dream. What would you expect, right, from Sennelier? Very nice. Okay, so that's the Sennelier. Now we'll do the Paul Rubens. Very waxy. Doesn't blend as well. Wow, that yellow just doesn't want to go up into that red. Just not blending well. It's just not really blending well. As a matter of fact, I'm even going to try, let's see, this one is the Paul Rubens. There's the Rubens yellow. I'm even going to try giving it more yellow. Make sure I'm doing the right thing. Yes, Paul Rubens. Because it's just not going well with the blending. Wow. You know, I wonder what pigment that is because it's really looking muddy. It's not making green. It's just making mud. And that's not really making a good orange. Wow, it's not blending well. It blended a little better, but I don't know what that blue is. I wonder if they have pigment numbers on their box. It's just so hard to get an orange out of this. It's just not going to happen. Definitely don't feel like I'm getting a good green out of that. Just no comparison to that lovely green right there. Okay, so I'll try the Mungyo. So the Mungyo is blending better. I did get an orange, and I am getting a green. It's definitely blending better. It's definitely blending much more easy. It just seems creamier than the Paul Rubens. Definitely. Wow, definitely blending better. Remember, this is the one that was so darn crumbly, though I had to knock the crumbs off, but it is, no doubt, it is blending much better. Wow, yeah. So your choice there is really poor blending on the Paul Rubens or incredibly chunky crumbs with the Mungyo. But it's a hard call because you have to be able to blend them. So I would choose the Mungyo in that department. Oh, I never put the white down there. Oh, what did I not? I didn't put the white on a couple of them. I'll be darned. Where's the Mungyo? Much better blending. Yeah, much better blending. It's a much nicer orange. Again, much nicer blending than the Paul Rubens. Okay, so I think I got them all blended. So that's what they look like on, maybe I'll pull this camera back to try to equalize the light a little. That's what they look like on the tan paper. Show you in the sun too. That sunlight. This is the gray paper. This is the blue paper. Paul Rubens was the worst at blending. Mungyo Gallery was the worst at being crumbly. And here's what they look like on black. Let's see, maybe I'll put the sort of neutral gray and black together. So a viewer had written in the comments of one of the videos on pastels about using Gamsol, and I actually like when I do a pastel painting for it to be thick and have that sort of impasto look, so I don't use Gamsol. I'm also trying not to use Gamsol anymore in my studio, but I thought for Fran, who's been a really loyal viewer for a while, I would show some of the pastel colors on each brand with the Gamsol. That one was Sennelier. This is Paul Rubens. So that's the Sennelier, and that's the Paul Rubens. And the Paul Rubens isn't breaking down as well as the Sennelier. There's some blue crumbs there, so it's probably going to turn my yellow, but that's all right. We're just trying to see how it breaks down with the Gamsol. Yeah, again, the Paul Rubens, you really got to work at breaking it down with the Gamsol. This doesn't seem to work as good. And this is the Mungyo Gallery. Definitely breaks down better than the Paul Rubens. This doesn't break down as nice as the other ones. Strange texture on that. This breaks down really nice. The Mungyo, just very creamy. Seems to break down lovely. Okay, and that's all I'm going to do with the Gamsol because it's stinking me out already, and I'm trying not to use it in the studio. But that's for you, Fran, for my loyal viewer, Fran, because she mentioned in her comments about using Gamsol, so I thought I would demonstrate what she had mentioned. That is with the Gamsol. So there are the tests. One last thing I thought I'd play around with before I break for lunch was, because Gamsol gives me such a headache, even when I have the window open in the studio, I thought I would try using some walnut oil to mix with these. Instead of putting all the colors out, I just put out some of the Mungyo. So I'll see how some of that works. Just a little bit of oil. Wow, very nice. Wow, nice. I like it. I don't know if I'd want to do this in my sketchbook because of the oil bleeding through the other pages, but this is lovely. Boy, that blends really nice with the walnut oil. Really nice. And these colors are from the Mungyo set. I love their muted colors. Something I probably should have mentioned before. They have a lot of really beautiful muted colors. And I'm a huge fan of muted colors. So that's a bonus for that one. Okay, little experiment with walnut oil. I've heard people say they use baby oil too, but I have the walnut oil anyways, so. Nice. Wow, I like that. I wonder how much that would bleed through in your sketchbook. I love the way these blended with the walnut oil. And guess what? No stink. Okay, so that's my final look at the 3 different brands, Sennelier, Paul Rubens, and Mungyo Gallery. And I learned a lot. It was fun. I don't imagine that any reviewers on YouTube have to fear me because I'm not good at reviews, I don't think. And they're probably not the most fun thing to do for me. I'd rather paint for you guys and do some mixed media and some stuff like that. But I thought I would do it. It was fun. I learned a lot. I was surprised at how crumbly the Mungyo was. I was surprised at how poorly the Paul Rubens blended together. Very muddy and just, I couldn't get it to blend. I tried with a mixing stick. I tried with my hands, my fingers. Just couldn't get it to mix together well, and didn't like the colors when it mixed together. And I did find that when I did the test painting. Obviously, the Sennelier blends beautifully and you can get good mixed colors. Yeah, so crumbly Mungyo or hard to mix Paul Rubens or expensive Sennelier. You know, they all have their pluses and minuses. Inexpensive Paul Rubens and Mungyo are inexpensive. I don't like the way the Paul Rubens mixed though. So I suppose I should do a painting with the Mungyo. I'm kind of not looking forward to it because of how crumbly. Well, these are not packed well. You can hear them just dropping. These are not packed anywhere near as well as the other boxes. If you just lift this box up, everything just completely falls out of place. So, and the packaging feels really cheap compared to the Paul Rubens and the Sennelier. So that's that. Let me see if I can pull it together to do a painting with the Mungyo and see what I come up with. I'll be back.
The slow day, the calm, and the night will unfold. I never thought that I would be traveling this road. People keeps missing, the clouds seem to fade. And every occasion I whisper your name. I'm happy to hear that you'll still be around. I thought you were leaving without a sound. In my little world you are both pros and cons. It's hard to admit when you feel you don't belong. So tell me, are you still in there? As beautiful as you are, you just don't know how far. In this world I'll be right by your side with arms. Even if you don't want, you wrote your name in my heart. Your odd way of laughing, the curls in your hair. I wish that I could tell you how much I really care. Your harmless desire, the tip of your tongue. All of your bruises and all of your fun. Tell me, are you still in here? As beautiful as you are, you just don't know how far. In this world I'll be right by your side with arms. Even if you don't want, you wrote your name in my heart. In this world I'll be right by your side with arms. Even if you don't want, you wrote your name in my heart.
Since this page already got messed up from when I did this painting, there's stains all over it from the pastels, I thought I would just totally experiment on this page. So I sort of rough sketched something out, but my sketch was getting really messy and I wasn't really coming up with a good composition. So because I tried the walnut, a mix of the walnut oil and Gamsol, tiny bit of Gamsol with the walnut oil on this painting yesterday, I thought I would see what happened if I used the Gamblin solvent-free gel mixed with some of the pastels on this experimental page. Let's see what happens. Let's put a little bit of the gel out. Okay, I decided to grab a jar. I'm going to put a little bit of walnut oil in the jar so that I can clean my brush. So I'm already really not liking the way this Gamsol is working. I just don't think it's adding any benefit. So I'm going to pour a little bit of this walnut oil into this cup. And I'm going to add just a drop of Gamsol. Just a drop. Because I feel like when I used that yesterday, it was working much better. So I'm really loving these lost and found edges that are happening by blending the pastels with the walnut oil and the Gamsol. How things are just sort of bleeding together. And what I can do afterwards is go in with some more pastel and sharpen up some areas. And every time my brush gets a little too dirty, I just dip it in the jar of walnut oil and wipe it off real good. with a paper towel. So here's the two finished paintings that I did by diluting the pastels with Gamsol and walnut oil. This one I took a bamboo pen using with ink and scratched all into it for some expressive marks. Really fun to experiment around with, you know, using a mixture of the diluted pastels and the pure pastels onto the page. It's an interesting effect. I still don't feel like I can stay as loose with the oil pastels as I can with painting, just because I find anytime I use drawing, it activates the left side of my brain and I get tighter. Painting seems to be, it just seems to be able to keep me looser. But these are fairly loose. I was imagining this looser. It feels a little tight to me. But I'm pretty happy with them both. I think they look great next to each other. The oil did bleed through the page. So I don't know. I'll put a piece of deli paper in between. I don't know if it'll bleed through that. Something else I thought of that I could do is I could gesso the back of the page before I start so that it won't bleed through. So there they are. Mungyo Gallery pastels. M-gram, walnut oil, and Gamsol. Okay, so that wraps up another week of Beginner's Mind, Art Mind. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you'd like to see more. See you next week.